Hey, we finally have a new PoE1 league, or I mean almost a new league, Legacy of Phrecia, and we are of course going to play Poison Blade Vortex, as always. I decided to go for Bog Shaman this league, because we of course can't play Pathfinder, and Bog Shaman looked like the best alternative. For those who never played BV, BV is a really strong clear build, really strong mapper. I would consider Poison BV an all-rounder. It can do bosses as well. I would not recommend it, but on a lot of budget it can even do Ubers. And let's go over the new Ascendancy. So I decided to go with Pandemic, Thought Pact, Vile Imprecations, and Eerie Silence. You will see in the POB that in early game I'm going Felfen, because the downside is quite okay in early game, cost resistance is 0. But once you get your Ming's Hurt and a lot more case res, I feel like it's not worth it to go for Felfen. Why am I going Pandemic, Thought Pact, Vile Imprecation, and Eerie Silence? Pandemic looks busted, to be honest, 40 more damage over time. The downside is quite big. We will need recovery. You will see I'm going Adirius Promise. You can also go with Vitality on it Watcher. We will see on the POB. I think in early game it might be a bit scuffed to play Pandemic. If you feel like you're not comfortable playing it while your gear is bad, you can just go Felfen, Eerie Silence, Vile Imprecations, and Thought Pact. And yeah, drop Pandemic in the early game. Thought Pact for BV, it's completely busted. You get 50% AoE, 50% duration, which are both really good on BV. Duration is insane for quality of life. AoE is always good. Vile Imprecations. So we get free Malediction, which is 10% resist damage and 10% increased damage on enemies. And we also get 30% increased reservation efficiency of Cursed Aura skills, which is really nice because we'll go Despair with Blasphemy support, and that will help us a lot with our reservation. And last but not least, we'll go Eerie Silence, which grants us level 20 Pacify skill. I'm not sure how good Pacify is, but we also get 30% increased damage on enemies pacified, which is really nice for single targets and bosses. So that's our go-to. And now let's see what we lost from not playing Pathfinder. So yeah, we used to play Poison BV on Pathfinder, which we can't play in Legacy of Phrecia. So what we lose from Pathfinder is Nature's Reprisal, which was really good. It basically gave us free Withered and Effect of Withered. And Wizard at 15 stacks is like 2 times your damage. So we need to find a way of still getting Withered. We also lose Master Toxicist, which was pretty good for spreading poison. But I'm not too worried about it because of Thought Pact we have so much more AoE. And we of course have Obliteration and stuff as well that gives us Explode. So I'm not too worried about Poison Proliferation. And we of course lose Perma Flasks, which was our way of getting resistances and EHP. So we'll find a way to fix our resistances as well, which is honestly not easy on BV, on Poison BV, because we have a lot of uniques, so it wasn't an easy task to fix our resistances. Let's now go over the POB. So let's start with the early game gear. This is the core item for Poison BV, Dendrobat. As you can see, as the two bottom mods are increased damage with poison if you have at least 200 dexterity, increased poison duration if you have at least 150 intelligence. So that's the main thing you need to worry about. Always having more than 150 intelligence and 300 dex. And it also gives us Socket Gem are supported by level 10 chance to poison, which is nice on BV as well, because we really want to poison with it. I mean, it's the whole point of the build. So that's the main piece of gear. I start the league with 4 or 5 link if I can, because 6 linking is of course going to be too expensive in early. Also you need to know that you cannot play BV during acts. you want to play Poison's Concoction or any other leveling gear, because BV is just not playable during acts. I mean Poison BV. Second main unique, let's say, is Obliteration. Why Obliteration? Because we need the Explode for mapping. It's really nice. I mean, it's a lot of Explode. You will see that it feels really good. You can see you will see on the gameplay. I like to go with Zill's Amplifier in early league, because it's just a lot of AoE, and it's also some suppress, which is good early. You can see with this shit gear, I'm already suppress capped. I mean, I'm taking suppress is lucky, right? But I'm at 95 suppress with this really bad gear. And so yeah, that's pretty nice. But that's not necessary. Like, you can go rare shield, you can go if you can, you go Dawnbreaker, of course, but it's not that easy to get early league. And Adirus Promise, because as we saw on the Shaman Ascendancy, we are playing Pandemic, which as you can see is making our life regen minus 126 per second. That's if you are it, right? Because we have 20k evasion. We are not always it. But if you are being hit recently, you lose 126 life per second. That's why we are playing Adirus Promise, to try and solve recovery. Of course, this won't be always up, but this will help definitely. And as I said, if you are not comfortable with playing Pandemic in early, you just go Felfen, and yeah. And yeah, the gloves, that's the big change for Bog Shaman. Why Shadows and Dust? So the gloves are trash, but as we saw in the Pathfinder Ascendancy, we are losing Withering stacks. So we want a way to get Withered, like Withering stacks, and that's why we are going Shadows and Dust. But I'm not too sure if Unholy for 3 seconds on the Rampage is really good. What I would do personally is I would drop the stacks completely in early. I would go for rare gloves, and you usually want to go for this node, but in early I would drop this node. So yeah, I would drop it, and as you can see, we lose a lot of damage, but I don't think there's an easy way of getting the wizard stacks in early without sacrificing too much. So I would just drop it in early if you don't like Shadows and Dust, because the uptime of Unholy is probably gonna be pretty bad. So yeah, I think that's it. Okay, we can go over the gems now. So that's our 5-link setup for BV. You will see on the POB. Plague Beer, really important. That's really good for clearing as well as for bossing, you will see. Especially early maps. Plague Beer is going to be insane for the first bosses. So don't forget to use it with step automation, of course. Let's go over the auras. So we are running Grace, Herald of Agony, Malevolence, and Despair with Blasphemy. And we have enough reservation because we are playing the node that gives us 30% reservation for aura curses. And that should be it for early game. Let's now go over the mid game. What are the main changes? So, in mid game, we actually want to swap for Dawnbreaker, really important, because we are not playing any armor. So we need a way of mitigating fizz damage, and that's alright, 20% fizz taken as fire. As you can see, the fizz max hit is not bad at all, thanks to Dawnbreaker. And of course the Ruby Flask. It's good to try and get the levels on your Dendrobat, levels of socketed AoE, durations, level of socketed gems, because BV has a really good scaling with levels. As you can see, I'm running +1 amulet as well, +1 level of fall or +1 level of fall physical, because we really want to up that BV level. You can see at the DPS, like one more level is like 10% DPS. Of course, if you can get BV 2120, you should go for it. but it's not likely that you will have it in mid game or early game. We actually want to go Ming's Hurt as soon as we can. That's really a best in slot unique for this build. As you can see, it's like 35% DPS by itself. It's really insane. The downside is pretty big, 25% reduce max life, but it caps your chaos res almost by itself. As you can see, 23% chaos res on the implicit, 47% on the explicit size. So that's pretty big. And I like to go Devouring Diadem. As you can see, it gives you Eldritch Battery, which we were pathing in. If you look at early game, we were pathing toward Eldritch Battery. It was a lot of points actually. However, in mid game, we do not need to pass towards Eldritch Battery because we are playing Devouring Diadem. And the reservation is also pretty good. And Fist of Flesh is pretty mid. However, since we are losing HP from Pandemic, it will actually be really useful because it will help us with the recovery, of course. Big change. The big change in mid game is that we finally have a good way of getting Wizard. That's a Glorious Vanity. I found it was the easiest way of getting it. So you can get Ritual of Shadows with this Glorious Vanity, which gives you Wizard on it. So that's really, really nice. It changes our passing quite a bit. As you can see, I also have Temple Path, which is suppressed in all res. You should not like try to get it. It's really good, but it's unlikely that you will get it. You should try, however, to get some resistances on the small nodes. Some area of effect is nice, some movement speed is nice, and I think you can get some max life as well, which is also nice. But I would say focus on resistances. If you can't get any of those, you can always fix your resistances with tattoos, and that should do. Also, thing you need to know, people like to go with this node, which is 40% increased AoE, yeah, and go with +1 maximum number of seals. I'm not a fan. I didn't find the need over the leagues to go with this setup, but if you feel comfortable playing it, you can always go for it. It's one more seal and some AoE. Actually, when we get to mid game, we drop the Herald and we go for Purity of Elements because we have so much more uniques, right? So it's a bit of a pain to cap our res, and we get Element is immune as well with Purity of Elements. So that's really nice. Other than that, I think that's it. Also, on PoB, we'll see that I'm actually like taking jewels to put the Ascendancy. So when you do your tree, you don't take these two nodes. That's just so I can put the Witchbug Shaman jewel. I did the mid-game, late-game change because I don't. I believe that's not really like late-game change. However, it's still like some. You will see that it's a big DPS increase. We lose a bit of EHP, but we almost double our DPS, so I feel like that's a good trade. So why are we losing HP? We are going double Ming's Hurt, which is the best thing you can do to increase your DPS. We're also going for Replica Dragon's Fang Flight, with +3 level of all Blade Vortex gems. This is really insane. You can see 26% DPS by itself. And we get some reservation as well, which is really good. You don't need to go for 8, 9, 10 reservation. Get what you can because this is really expensive in early league. We also always want to anoint overcharged because in maps, that's the way you are getting Frenzy and Endurances. As you can see, Endurance is crazy HP, Frenzy is quite good move speed. That's quite nice. What else? I think that's it. Just one Ming Sword and Replica Dragon Thing. So I think we can go on late game now. By the way, these are just like regular rares. Don't forget to do your implicit on gloves. I didn't do them on boots and stuff, but it's really important on gloves because you get 9% chaos dot multi and 0.2% chaos leashed, which is really nice since we of course are playing still pandemic and we are going to lose life if we're getting hit. So we want those this leash to compensate, right? Let's go over late game now. In late game we have a lot of changes. So big changes. We are going for a light of meaning. Here in this spot, as you can see, it's giving us 12.5% DPS. Every single node in this area will give us chaos damage. It's a really strong unique. It's usually quite cheap, like it's one of the cheaper one, the chaos damage one, but could be expensive this league, we can't know. We also want to go for a CI, or is it CI Impossible Escape? Because as you can see, that's saving us a lot of points. We don't have to go for this, we do not have to pass here, we do not have to take this. So it's saving us a lot of points. You can actually drop this if you feel like to. But that's just like, it was a lot of DPS for me to drop. As you can see, you actually, no, I guess it's fine. Okay, no, I think you drop this. And you can actually respect there, it's quite a lot of DPS for 2 points. Or you can just get more life, I guess. Or you just keep these, but yeah, I think it's worth it to drop them. What else do we have in late game? We want Progenesis as soon as we can because the price will go up a lot. It's always going up because the flask is so busted. Like as you can see, it's giving us 20k hit pool, a really crazy flask. Really good on this build. It's not as good as when we were playing Pathfinder, of course, but it's really strong. We can try also to get a +4 John Robot. This would be best in slots. We want to get our 2120 Blade Vortex by now. As you can see, it's 1.5 million DPS, like literally 10% compared to the level 20. And we want Awoken Gems also by now. Really good upgrade. We bring back Herald of Purity. I mean, not Herald of Agony, Herald of Purity, because it's slightly more DPS, I believe. We are at 15.5 million with Herald of Purity and 50.1 with Agony. So yeah, it's quite a lot of DPS. So we're bringing it back. We are also still playing. If you compare this to my old guides, I mean not my guides, my old POBs, you can see that we are still playing with Obliteration because it's really hard to get triple curse and fix resistances. Because basically what you want to do usually is go with Asenath, so you get explode on gloves, and you go with a weapon like this to get a lot of damage. However, if you go Athenas, you will have Pacify, you will have Despair, and you will have Temporal Chains. Problem is, you only have one node that gives an additional curse. So you're there with triple curse, and one is going to get overwritten. So the only way I found to actually play the rare weapon, or like called Iron Point if you want, which is also a good DPS increase, is to do the Mageblood version. I didn't find any way of doing it with Athena's before Mageblood. So yeah, not the best setup for DPS. Of course, if you're going to boss, you just go for a weapon like this or Cold Iron Points, which is a good DPS increase because you don't need the explode if you're bossing. But for mapping, you just keep this setup. It will really do the job. Even in T17, this should be fine. Let's go now. Really late game. It's not common to push the build this far because it's the scaling of poison BV investment compared to what you get from it is not crazy at all. But let's see what I did for the Mageblood version. So, as you can see, we are playing both Herald with Mageblood version because we are dropping Purity of Elements. Why are we dropping Purity of Elements? Because we don't need resin more, of course, we have Mageblood. So Flask are capping our resistance. We are dropping Life Flask from late game actually version, so that's important to know. We do not have a Life Flask anymore, and since we do not have Life Flask anymore, we need more recovery, and that's why we need a Watcher's Eye with Vitality, Life on it. This type of Watcher's Eye is really good. This one has evade attacks well affected by Grace as well. But what you really want is life per enemy well affected by Vitality, because it will solve our recovery. And as you can see, I have a level 1 Vitality here, which allow me to use the Watcher's Eye. So, we are using Mageblood, of course. No. How did I solve the triple curse problem? So, I have my Athenath with Despair on it, and Temp Chain on it. So the issue is, how do I get Temp Chain, Despair, and Pacify? So the only solution I found was playing Windscream, which are these boots. It's pretty bad. The boots are pretty bad. You only get 20% move speed. That's why I went with these implicits. Yeah, pretty bad boots, but that's the only easy way of getting the additional curse. But as you can see, the weapon is doing so much for us. Like if we were to put Obliteration, we actually lose 8 million DPS. And Asenas are also doing a lot. So yeah, that was the only way of getting this additional curse. And I think that's it. Oh no, we also had Storm Shroud on the Mageblood version. Because we are not playing Purity of Elements anymore. So we want Storm Shroud to get Element Immune. And we just need the Avoid Being Shocked Flask with 70% increased effect and 25 on the explicit. And it's basically giving us Element Immune for free with Storm Shroud. So yeah, I think there are ways of getting this rare weapon without Mageblood, but it's just a pain to get our res fine without Mageblood. You can try because it will always be a lot more DPS, but not easy at all. And yeah, I really recommend the build. If you have any questions or anything, I'll be answering them. And yeah, I'll be playing maybe on stream, on League Start, I'm not too sure. But if you have any questions, you can hit me up on Discord as well. It will be in the description. And I leave the POB and stuff as well. And if you have any recommendation as well, like of a better way of getting the additional curse or anything like that, let me know. I will try to do updates when the league release. And see you guys. Thank you.